Buffy the Vampire Slayer was and remains a remarkable cultural phenomenon. There are scores of fascinating books, podcasts, video essays, and more all about this amazing show. And no wonder, there's just so much to say. And now I've decided to add my voice to the field of Buffyology? Buffology? Buffy studies? Hi, I'm Sarah. I work in costume design, and I'm an all-around costume nerd. And this is... Part of what makes Buffy's costuming so strong is that with the exception of the first and last season, every episode was designed by one designer, Cynthia Bergstrom. The first season was designed by Susanna Puisto, and the 7th season was designed half by Terry Dresba, and the last half by Matthew Van Dyne, who interestingly worked on Spike's favorite show beforehand.
Passions is coming on.
Having one designer on most of the show gives a consistency to the costuming, so there's a lot to dig into with the costumes on Buffy. Each character's evolving style, the period clothes in the flashbacks, the color language, and of course, Mr. Trick's suits.
Clothes make the man.
First, it seems to me the best place to start is with the one girl in all the world and her relationship to fashion.
Dad, you want me to go to the dance in an outfit I've already worn? Why do you hate me?
Buffy loves fashion. It's a part of her identity. It's been a part of her identity since before she was called to be a Slayer, and it becomes a visual representation of her struggle to reconcile her Slayerness with herself. The identity of the Slayer is a metaphor for growing up, for having a job, for having responsibilities, being practical. And so it makes sense that in the early seasons of the show, as Buffy is resisting the Slayer identity, she wears clothes that are more fashion than function. Her short dresses are really cute, but I ask you, how is she supposed to fight vampires in them? She doesn't have much ease of movement, and very little protection. Color-wise, she favors light pastels and presents a very girly look. It's also very trendy. Buffy isn't thinking ahead or looking for classic styles that age well.
She lives very much in the now.
As we move into season 2, Buffy's struggles with her identity has changed. She isn't rejecting her role anymore, but she's still questioning who she is and what her future is. This is reflected in her fashion too. When Buffy is low or struggling, she rejects her fashionable clothes, retreating into what the ladies of Buffy the Vampire Slayer have dubbed the overalls of sadness. After becoming, when Buffy has almost lost herself entirely, she gives up her fashion along with her name. But it's there, when she's gone to literal hell. She stands up, wearing nothing special, just basic sweats and a hoodie, and yet she knows who she is.
I'm Buffy, the Vampire Slayer, and you are?
When Buffy comes back from LA, she has a new attitude and a new wardrobe. Her clothes were a bit more functional and a bit more grown up. She's built a patrol wardrobe of stylish workout wear, practical for slaying, but still stylish. We are seeing an integration of the Buffy side and the Slayer side. Our high femme girl has also met her dark doppelganger.
I'm Faith.
Faith tempts Buffy into trying some darker clothing choices, as well as offering some other temptations. And in the end, Buffy integrates some of Faith's style into her own, notably the leather pants that will become a Buffy thing. In season 3, we also get The Wish, where we get a window on who Buffy might have been. Buffy as Slayer incarnate. And it's a Buffy with no care at all for her clothes. Buffy who's lost her Buffy self and become pure Slayer. Over season 3, Buffy gets more polish and maturity to her style. She lets go of some of the girlishness, while still being very feminine. She becomes the young woman who can slay a hellhound, then put on her glad rags, and go dance at the prom. In season 4, when Buffy is at college, her style is a bit more experimental. She explores a kind of eclectic kind of fashion. It's clear that she and Willow are sharing clothes, and it's fitting that in college, a more Willow sort of setting, Buffy might explore a more Willow kind of fashion. Once again here, Buffy's clothes are more about fashion than function. Perhaps it's a reflection of how Buffy is getting distracted from her calling, exploring other parts of her life.
Riley, mostly.
However, towards the end of season 4, Buffy finds the style that will come to really define her. Low-ride, slim-fit pants, and either a big sweater or a simple top. I love this look on Buffy. It's functional, but it's also really stylish. And it's a more mature look, more classical and contemporary rather than trendy. This is a Buffy who's thinking ahead. It only makes sense that her fashion has matured for season 5, since this is the season really about adulthood and responsibilities and sacrifice. In season 6, Buffy is struggling with depression after her resurrection, but she's putting on a brave front, and we see a lot of soft, feminine clothing. Buffy has observed about the world.
Everything here is hard and bright and violent.
Perhaps her wardrobe is a counterpoint to that hardness. As season 6 progresses, she comes back to something more like her season 5 look, but a little softer at times. Season 7 gives us General Buffy, as she builds an army to take on the First. Her look here is very much more grown up and very functional. She hasn't lost her eye for fashion, even in the ultimate apocalypse. It's a grown woman's fashion, confident and classic. Buffy's final outfit is one Sarah Michelle Gellar could still rock today. In 7 seasons, Buffy went from the girl with the puffy coat and the lollipop to a confident woman, kicking ass in her stylish yet affordable boots. Of course, she looked beautiful as the girl with the lollipop, and she looks beautiful now. It's not about a journey from a bad look to a good look. It's about her journey through her looks, her journey growing up, the journey of the Slayer, and this is the way it reflects in her fashion. So that's a look at Buffy's costuming, at her relationship to fashion and her evolving style. But Buffy is only one character. There's so much more, and there's so much more costumes to look at. I hope you'll join me here on the Costume Codex as we look at a Slayer, her witch, and her wardrobe.
More clothes?
Oh, do shoes count as clothes?